So, I am going to sit down today and do part 1 of my birth story with my twins. I've wanted to do this for a while. I've really looked forward to doing this one. I actually wanted to vlog their birth and like have that be like a beginning of a channel, but the way it went down, I was not in a mindset that remembered to vlog. I didn't even remember to take pictures. My phone was across the room. So anyway, I'll just start at the beginning. Before my induction started, I'll explain everything, and then maybe make another video about the actual induction and labor and delivery and all that, depending on how far I get today, because this might be a long story, and I don't want to post anything that's over 20 minutes. So if I get to 20 minutes, I'm going to have to cut myself off. But anyway, let's get started. So, when I was pregnant with the girls, this is April 2018, the end of my pregnancy, they had me do growth scans. I had just started making my appointments for my NSPs, which, if you don't know, is when they strap on those monitors to check for contractions and baby's heart rates, to make sure everything's good. At my clinic, I guess I should say, not hospital, they were having me start to do them. It was planned for 32 weeks, because that's when I started having them. So, I guess actually I had my first one scheduled for like the day before I turned 33 weeks, I think it was the Monday. But I had a growth scan every once in a while, I guess it was. I had one at 24 weeks and then at 30 weeks. They wanted me to come in at 34 weeks, but I do research, I study pregnancy, that's my interest. And I noticed at a 30-week appointment growth scan, they were dropping in percentiles, kind of a lot. Especially my baby B, who's Frankie, she dropped under 10th percentile already. And so I actually asked to come back in 2 weeks. They said that was the limit. They said, we can't see you in less than 2 weeks. You can come back in 2 weeks and 1 day. So it is. So I was 32 weeks and 1 day. I came in for my NST, or for my growth scan, sorry. And, I thought nothing of it. I knew that I was getting to the end of my pregnancy with twins, and, I was low risk. I had no issues, no cramping, no scares, no high blood pressure, no diabetes, no anything. The worst thing that happened was I had really bad hyperemesis in the beginning of my pregnancy, which had completely ended by 14 weeks and turned into normal morning sickness, which again was completely gone by 22 weeks, and I was fine. Super healthy. The girls were super healthy. I was growing well. I was fine. I had some like pelvic discomfort from Zaya, baby A, being so low in my pelvis and in my hips. I was seeing a chiropractor for, but really, like, it's nothing on what it could have been, And so I thought nothing of it. They called me the next day after my growth scan and asked me to come into the high-risk clinic that day. They said, we want you to come in ASAP. I don't know why I didn't think anything of this, but I'm like, sure, of course. I love going in for appointments. I was working as a nanny, so I was only working at 3:30 when they got out of school. And, I had the entire rest of the day off. Before that, they asked me to come in at 1:30, so, 2 hours beforehand, totally easy. So I came in, they did the NST on me, I went to high risk, I was like, cool. And NST was fine, I was kind of bored by myself, but it was fine, Then I had a growth scan, and at the end of my growth scan, we had a high-risk doctor, radiologist guy. I actually don't really know what he does. I saw him this time when I had my anatomy scan. He came in to talk to me, but he came in back then to talk to me, and, I thought nothing of it. So just, going over some stuff with me, no big deal. And he shows me something, and he's like, you see this right here? it would be waves that looked like they were like mountains. And so he told me that was the blood flow. He told me that basically my understanding after the fact, because I was so thrown off and I was so like I wasn't expecting this to happen, that I don't completely understand to this day what he was saying, because I just couldn't process anything. And so, but my understanding is that because they were so sharp, because he showed me the difference between the two umbilical cords and how they look different. And one of them was definitely like sharper than the other one, like more of a peak. And he said that was looking like that because the blood pressure in the umbilical cord was elevated. So basically he told me to go talk to a high-risk doctor. I had my consultation with her after I talked to him, wiped my stomach off of all the stuff, and went to go sit down with her. My provider, who's a nurse practitioner, was actually with the high-risk doctor that day, the maternal fetal medicine doctor. And so I was really lucky that she was there, someone who knows me, who knows how I think and act and react to things. So the high-risk doctor sat me down. Again, I'm still thinking basically nothing of this. Like, okay, we're going to watch me more closely, whatever, So she sits me down, and she tells me, okay, so according to the National Board of Maternity and Pregnancy and all that, whatever board she was looking at, I don't remember now. She said you have to be induced between 32 weeks and 34/6. And I was like, what? Because 34/6 is still 2 weeks away. But I wasn't expecting that, obviously. So she goes, what do you want to do? She goes, you can wait until 34 weeks and 6 days, and we'll have you come in every single Monday and Thursday for an NST and a growth scan. And if things get worse, obviously your plan might change. But assuming that it doesn't, you'll just come in until 34/6, and you'll be induced, and that will be that. And she goes, but I need to tell you, obviously the longer you wait, the more likelihood of something happening, because things can progress. And the thing is and my provider is saying, like, well, you can come in every single weekday. Every single day that I'm here, I will listen to the baby's heart rate. I'll look at them, but there's nothing we can do over the weekends. Saturday and Sunday, you're on your own. There's really nothing you can do to check. We can't even check with the Doppler, because with the Doppler, you don't know which heart rate you're picking up, always. Now thinking back and knowing how Dopplers work, I feel like it would have been a little bit easier for me, because I knew exactly where my girls were. Frankie was breech, Zaya was head down, completely opposite sides, vertex. I mean, she was breech, but vertical is what I meant. But it's just not worth it. Like, I would be like, oh, well, I don't trust that this is really the right thing, and I don't know if I'm really picking up what I think I am, blah, blah, blah. I had a really high heart rate between pregnancy. My heart rate was always in the 120s. Honestly, I couldn't even tell the difference between them having a heart rate in the 130s and me having a heart rate in the 120s. So I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. She looked at me and she said, what do you want to do? What do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. And then my nurse practitioner was like, why don't I do the GBS swab? Because you're going to be induced one way or another. Might as well just get it out of the way. Just do it now. I'll be right back. And the MFN lady was like, okay, I'm going to go to my office. When you guys are finished up here, just come to my office and let me know what you've decided. Think about it a couple minutes, So my nurse practitioner, came back in, and I said, I really don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, oh, well, I think that you should just be induced ASAP. You're going to need steroid shots anyway. We're not going to induce you with the steroid shots unless it was, like, a massive emergency. So I say you just get the steroid shots. Let's plan to induce you in 48 hours, because the way the steroid shots work is you go in, you get one. 24 hours later, you get another one. 24 hours later, you can be induced. Or you can decide not to. But either way, you have one, you know? So she's like, basically that, you know? She's like, if you get the shots, at least you have them, and then at any point, you're already ready. And you can always change your mind. Well, let's just plan for you to be induced on Saturday. This is a Thursday. So I was like, okay. I have to think about it, but like this, I mean, if that's what you think is best, you know? She was like, I don't think you're going to be able to eat or sleep or relax. You're just going to be constantly worried about this. You're just going to think that something's going to go wrong, much like how I feel in this pregnancy at this point. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, you know what, you're probably right. So we did the GPS swab, dressed. She went into the MFM office, so did I, and she was like, what did you decide? And I'm like, well, I'm going to at least get the steroid shots. I'm going to think about it overnight, come back in and get the steroid shots. And she's like, oh, well, you can come into the clinic tomorrow to get them, or you can go downstairs. But at this point, it was already like 5:45, I think. 4:45. And when I went downstairs, the injection clinic was closed. So they had me go over to labor and delivery and get my steroid shot there. So I went across the street to labor and delivery. And I met with the doctor, talked to the doctor about birth plan. I said, you know, like, if I choose to be induced in 2 days, what will happen? They had me set up to meet the NICU staff. So that was the next day, though. And so I talked to the doctor first, the birth plan, got the steroid shot. It was painful. They do it in your butt, and it hurts. But the doctor was really nice. She was really nice, but she did tell me that because Frankie was breech, she plans to do a manual extraction, basically. So she would stick her arms up to here, grab my baby, and pull her out feet first, which is what ended up happening because Frankie did not slip. And because of that, she told me you cannot have a natural birth. It's not an option. Your options are you can have birth epidural or you can have a C-section. But I don't feel comfortable sticking my arm inside of you without an epidural, and I don't think any other doctor is going to either if they're the ones on call. And she actually did end up being the one on call. So, you know, it is what it is. So I cried because I didn't want an epidural. I wanted a natural birth. And by natural, I mean unmedicated, of course. And it wasn't what I wanted, you know. I was like, this is not my plan. I didn't want to go to labor early. I didn't want to be in the NICU. But everything kind of seemed fine. Everybody was so nice to me, and they're like, you'll be fine, and, you know, do the epidural at the last minute possible. And, you know, the NICU staff told me that 33-weekers will come home in about 2 weeks. No big deal. Yeah, no. So anyway, so I went home. My mom came, met me, so I could talk to her about it. She took the bus over. I had obviously driven because I was driving, and so she met me because she didn't have her car anyway. We drove back home together. I explained to her what happened. I actually called her when I was going downstairs to try to get the steroid shot. I told her what was going on, called my best friend, told her you need to plan to come down on Saturday because she was a need a support person. I was a single mom at the time, as you all know. So I didn't have a partner to go into with. So she was my support person. She came down. So she made plans to do that. Just snapped my finger. It was super, super nice of her. And then, yeah, so that was that. I mean, you know, I went home. I told the people I work for, I told them, like, I have to suddenly be induced. Obviously, I had told them that I couldn't come to work because my appointment just kept running. And so I was like, okay, I can't pick them up from school. And then I was going to pick them up from dance class. And then I was like, okay, I can't make it to dance class. So I ended up just telling them, you know, like, I'm going to be induced over the weekend most likely. And I guess that's it, you know. Like, if you need me to pick up the kids, because the next week Friday, like I said, it was Thursday. If you need me to pick up the kids today, I can do that, but it'll be my last day. So, up to you. And they're like, just get yourself ready, you know. So I did all my finishing touches at home. The next morning I went back into the doctor's office, which they told me to do. Had another ultrasound just to look at their heart rates for like some, peace of mind. And went with my provider, told her I want to be induced. But not just that, I want to be admitted today so that I can feel comfortable in the hospital. I can get to know staff a little bit. I can feel like this is starting because the anxiety is only going to get higher if I feel like I'm not being watched at this point. So she called, she asked if I could come in that day, 5:30, because that's when I got my first steroid shot, so I would be at my second one around then. They said yes, call at 4:30 to make sure that people haven't come in labor and have taken my spot, but it should be fine. So that's what happened. So I went in the next day, called them at 4:30, they said, yeah, we're good. Went in at 5:30, signed all the papers, and I stayed in antepartum, which is where people typically say if they have complications that you need to be hospitalized for and watched for. It's also where they leave you if you have babies in the NICU, if they have rooms available. So I actually stayed there for the night before I was induced, and then for 3 nights after I gave birth, I stayed there. So I went into antepartum, and just all the same stuff. I got my steroid shot at 7:30 p.m. and the staff was really cool. They were really nice. Since I got there at 5:30, they didn't have a dinner for me, but because I hadn't had dinner, they gave me like this tray plate thing of like snacks. Because I'm a vegetarian, like I got a bunch of snacks that were like chocolates and puddings and juices and stuff. So I was down. I was like, I'm so in this. And I think my mom might have like brought me something else later also to eat, like Thai food or something. I think both my parents actually came in to visit that night. And they got my IV in already. I don't know why they did that. No, they must have done it the next day. So they did the IV the next day, sorry. But yeah, it was just like, we did an NST that night. The girl looked good. And then my best friend came the next day. In the morning, she came, we hung out. The actual labor and delivery was a little more crowded, so I think I waited until 11:30 to be admitted into the actual L&D ward. But my hospital has private rooms, so that was all good. So now we're at April 21st, 11:30 p.m. They're getting me started to get induced. Or I guess I was admitted at 9:30 and my induction started at 11:30, sorry. So I was admitted at 9:30 p.m., April 21st, 2018. And yeah, I guess that's it for part one because we're reaching 20 minutes, like I said. So I will finish part two probably tomorrow. And yeah, alright.